I want to ask you about that ruling from the federal appeals court. It bars the Trump administration from continuing to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport alleged gang members. The use of this wartime law, immediately raised questions back in March when we saw the administration deporting hundreds of Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador. The legal battle we know isn't over, but for the Trump administration, how big of a defeat is this right now?
Right. You're absolutely right, Joe. We could expect the Trump administration to try to take this to the Supreme Court here. But in this 2-1 decision from the appellate court, there was a George W. Bush and Joe Biden nominee that were in the majority there. The one dissent on the appellate court was a Trump appointee judge. But this is a defeat because, in large part, this was not only a rebuke of their actions earlier this year. Of course, folks will recall when hundreds of individuals who the Trump administration alleged to be members of the Tren de Aragua gang were deported from the United States and sent to that El Salvador mega prison. Of course, we quickly found that there were deep, serious questions about the legitimacy of claims about many of those individuals who were said to be members of this gang. But the appellate court making clear in their ruling that they found that there was no invasion or predatory incursion by these gangs that the White House had designated to be terrorist organizations, which was the impetus of invoking this wartime act during this time of peace, and the court making clear that the administration does not have the authority to at least deport individuals under this law.
All right, Vaughn Hillyard. Vaughn, thank you so much.
Let's bring in Danny Cevallos for more on this federal appeals court ruling. So first, Danny, explain the court's decision to us. What limitations does it kind of put into place when it comes to the deportation of migrants?
Yeah, Vaughn Hillyard did a great job there. But essentially, the court noted that this is something that has come up really only about 3 times in our nation's history. That's how rarely the statute gets examined by courts. But here's the key. Was what the executive order sought to combat, was that a predatory incursion? Was that an invasion within the statute? Because if it is, then the president has the power. If not, then he doesn't. But I caution that this is a very narrow ruling in the sense that there are still other avenues for removal that are available, both statutory and otherwise, and the government can continue to use those. This is a narrow, even though it's 130 pages, this is a narrow decision that not only that this was not an incursion or a predatory incursion or invasion, but also it is narrow in the sense that it allows the president to go forward, and it's temporary in the sense that it's only an injunction. So many of these things we deal with in a Trump term are preliminary injunctions. They're not final decisions on the merits. The case actually goes back down to the district court. But what the court has done now and what they have to do in these cases is kind of do like a calculate the odds, almost like gambling. Like the petitioners have to show, hey, we're likely to win. So court, you need to analyze our likelihood of success on the merits of the case, even though you're not deciding the merits of the case quite yet.
We know around 250 Venezuelan migrants were deported to this mega prison in El Salvador last March. A New York Times investigation later found most of them did not have criminal records here in the U.S. So this ruling now, does it change anything for those who've already been deported under this law?
So here's the key. The answer is maybe not, because the administration's argument is going to be is once they're gone, they've already tried to use this. Once they're gone, they're outside of our control. The administration, we have no power over people who have actually already been removed. There is no longer a remedy because they're no longer here. We can't jurisdictionally reach out and grab them. So that is probably going to be the administration's position. And the other important thing is that by removing them, time is everything. That highlights the fact that petitioners need to get to court as fast as they can. And we've seen in just the last few months, people have to file their petitions within hours and wake up judges at 2 in the morning. So this is a really interesting era, I would say, of filing petitions, because they need to be filed within minutes sometimes to prevent removal, because once removed, it's a bell you might not be able to unring.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.